Let's set a scene. Your dog is just curled up, fast asleep, looking so peaceful. You go to give him a little pat, and suddenly there's a growl, a snarl, maybe even a snap. It is shocking, it's scary, and it just leaves you standing there wondering, what on earth just happened with my best friend?
You know, if that moment of just sheer confusion and fear sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. It's a really unsettling thing to go through, but believe it or not, it's way more common than most people think. And the good news? The experts have a really clear answer for why it happens. To really get to the bottom of this, we're leaning on the expertise of Canine Dimensions. And get this, they've trained over 90,000 dogs. So yeah, they have seen this exact problem over and over again. They know what this behavior is, and just as important, they know what it is not.
Okay, let's dive in. Before we can really understand what's going on, we have to deal with the big, scary myths that pop into our heads. We've got to clear away the fear first.
So the first place our minds usually go is dominance, right? This idea that the dog is trying to be the alpha, that they're trying to assert control or, take over the house. And this really shows the huge gap between how we see it and what's actually happening in a dog's brain. We see this snap and we think, wow, my dog is consciously telling me off. He's trying to be the boss of me. But the expert consensus is really firm on this. In this specific situation, it is not a calculated act of dominance. All right, the second myth is honestly even scarier. It's the fear that your dog might have something called idiopathic aggression, which has the much more dramatic name rage syndrome. It's this idea that your dog is just unpredictably and uncontrollably aggressive. So let's just put this fear to bed right now. Rage syndrome is so incredibly rare these days, it's practically a non-issue. It's been pretty much bred out of the breeds that were once known for it. But here is the most important part, the real nail in the coffin for this theory. Its symptoms just don't match this behavior. This kind of aggression does not typically show up as a reaction to being woken up. Period.
So if it's not a power play, and it's not some ultra-rare disorder, what on earth is going on? Now that we've debunked those scary myths, we can finally get to the real, science-backed reason for this startling behavior.
The answer is something called an involuntary startle response. Think of it like this. If someone sneaks up behind you and yells, "Boo!" you might jump or shout before your brain even has a chance to catch up. It's an automatic, totally uncontrollable reflex. That is exactly what is happening with your dog.
This quote from the experts at Canine Dimensions just nails it. It is an involuntary fear or startle response completely outside of the dog's control. Just let that sink in for a second. Your dog is not choosing to do this. They're not being mean, they're not being malicious. It's a reflex, pure and simple.
Understanding that it's a reflex, well, that changes everything. It means the solution has nothing to do with correction or punishment. Instead, the focus completely shifts to a practical, doable plan that's all about management.
And this is the key takeaway. You cannot train away a reflex. You can't ask your dog to just stop being startled, any more than you could ask someone to stop sneezing. The goal isn't to fix the dog because there's nothing broken. The goal is to manage the environment so that the reflex doesn't get triggered in the first place.
So what does that management actually look like? Well, it starts with a safe way to wake up your dog. Rule number 1, never, ever just touch them to wake them up. Instead, call their name in a happy, cheerful voice from across the room. Maybe clap your hands gently. Give them a second to stand up, have a good stretch, and walk over to you. Only pet them once you are absolutely sure they are fully awake and aware of what's going on.
In this idea of management, it really applies to the whole household. A crate can be a wonderful, safe den for them, a place where they know they won't be bothered. Try to avoid letting them sleep in busy hallways or on your bed, where you might accidentally roll over on them. And the golden rule, especially for kids, is simple: let sleeping dogs lie. And please remember, since this is a reflex, punishing them will only make them more anxious and confused. Oh, and one last thing. It's good to know that some medications, like Benadryl, can make them sleep deeper, which can actually make the startle response even worse.
Okay, before we wrap this up, there is one final, absolutely critical distinction we need to make. All the advice we've just talked about is specifically for a dog that snaps when they're woken from sleep. A dog that shows aggression while they're already awake, well, that's a completely different ballgame. This lays it out pretty clearly. The aggression we've been talking about, the kind that happens when they're asleep, is that involuntary reflex, and the solution is management and prevention. But, and this is a big but,
If your dog growls or snaps while they are wide awake and just resting, that could be coming from something like resource guarding or fear. That is a training issue, and for that, you should absolutely get help from an experienced professional trainer.
So we'll leave you with this thought. That snap isn't a betrayal of your bond. It's not personal. It's a biological misfire. And knowing that this super scary behavior is an unconscious reflex, not a conscious choice, that can shift everything. It lets us replace fear with understanding and punishment with prevention. So, how does that change the way you see your sleeping dog?